LA has a new mayor, city attorney, and city controller ready to confront the economic challenges of our city. I'm Sharon Jimenez. Welcome to LA Business Today.
And I'm Bob Jimenez. Hollywood jobs may well get a boost as Eric Garcetti gets ready to take the reins of this city. July the 1st, he's been through the good, bad, and ugly of Tinseltown.
LA also got a new city attorney. Mike Feuer has come back to LA city government, replacing Carmen Trutanich. Will Feuer be more business-friendly?
Good question. And as Wendy Gruhl, who ran a tough campaign for mayor, moves out of the city controller's office, Century City Attorney Ron Galperin takes her place.
A new business leadership is emerging in LA that includes a surprising newcomer. Mayoral candidate and entertainment attorney Kevin James joins us today on LA Business Today.
Also with us today is the LA County Federation of Labor's top director, Glen Arnodo. What's in store for the powerful union after the candidate it backed lost?
A Republican and a Democrat, sure to be in a rough and tumble fight to turn LA's economy around.
Sharon, let's get down to business. Glen Arnodo has been a union member for nearly 40 years. Starting in Cleveland, Ohio, he wanted to teach school, but the economic woes of that Rust Belt city left few jobs available at the schoolhouse. So Glen went to work in a meatpacking plant and learned about collective bargaining. Following a big successful hotel strike in Las Vegas, he's moved up the ranks and is now staff director of the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, one of the most powerful unions in the nation. Glen, thank you very much. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did.
Okay.
And thank you for having me.
Arnodo, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Very Italian of you.
Yeah. Now, after that big build-up, we are going to talk a little bit about collective bargaining, but I want to get to some more exciting stuff because it would appear as entities in our society these days sort of kind of stretch out, become more diverse. They get involved in a lot of other stuff other than collective bargaining. We'll get to that in a minute. But I've got to ask you this right off the bat. You know, the Federation backed the wrong mayoral candidate, it turns out. Now what?
Or we back the right one and the voters saw differently. Depends how you want to look at it.
Okay.
Well, now we all have to figure out a way to move forward. The city needs to move forward. And, you know, I think we'll figure out a way to do that.
And I think that's a pretty astute observation because I can't remember, even in this city, the mayor or any other official holding some sort of vindictive position against people who didn't back them. We all come together. After it's over, we come together and we solve problems.
Elections are polarizing when they're happening, but afterward you still need to get things done.
I noticed during the campaign, though, that the Federation was really into immigration. That seemed to be an underlying theme that they talked about a lot. Why is that?
Well, immigrant voters have always been a very powerful element in our political campaigns, whether they're union members or not. We reach out to immigrant voters, Latino voters, and they're a huge constituency and growing every day. So they're important to everybody now as voters.
Yeah, this source of humanity that you go to, because in one sense they're new and can absorb what's needed for them at that economic level, right?
Absolutely, and they're overwhelmingly working class, so they're a natural constituency of ours.
You were involved now in a project, and this is what I was getting to in the beginning as I was rambling around, was that you are launching somewhat of a competition with an immigrant theme. And you're asking young people in Los Angeles to tell their immigrant story in 3 minutes on video or wherever. And they compete for a prize?
Correct.
When they do that?
Correct. It's the Short and Strong film competition, which for a union is unusual. We decided that this is the perfect moment as our country debates and discusses immigration reform. Let's hear the voices of young people. So what we tried to do was link Hollywood and the entertainment industry with the labor movement, with young people. And we want to hear immigrant stories. And we're inviting kids to send their films in to shortandstrong.com and tell an immigrant story. It might be your story, your family story, the lunch lady at school, your doctor. Might be a story you write. But let's hear the voices of young people.
Well, that's interesting, and we'll get more into why you chose that avenue. But you've got immigration, the political issue. You've got immigration, the practical, pragmatic issue. And then you have immigration that you want to get young people involved in because their voices are more credible, or what exactly is the message you're trying to convey?
Well, they're certainly more creative than us old people. At least I'm in that category.
Yeah.
But they're very powerful, and they're the next generation. And I think it's, for us, we have our own motive. It's a great way for the labor movement to reach out to young people so that maybe we'll find the next generation of filmmakers, but maybe we'll find the next generation of people who carry the torch like Dolores Huerta did and still does.
Right. Skeptics may say, oh, come on, this is just another recruiting thing on the union's part. What would you say to a skeptic like that?
Oh, I think, look, I don't know about recruitment. We just are inviting kids by the thousands to send their stories in. And we hope that some of them win our prizes. It helps pay for school. And maybe some of them get noticed as filmmakers as well.
Yeah, opportunities is what you're offering.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not just, we're not out to get any one kind of story. A young person said to me, maybe I'll make a film about undocumented skateboarders. I said, it's a great idea. That's just the kind of creativity we're looking for.
Yeah, that hidden group out there.
Absolutely. And you know what? Every kid, you don't have to be an immigrant to participate, but every kid can tell an immigrant story in some way or another.
Right. Skating in the underground.
There you go.
There's a good story.
There you go.
Well, this is pretty interesting, and I imagine you're going to get a good, diverse collection of stories. And from whom? Young people who were brought here, didn't know they were undocumented, brought here by their parents some years ago. Now they're 18, 19, 20. They're trying to get into college, and they're going, what?
Yes.
I'm not legal?
Exactly right.
And you want to hear those stories?
We want to hear those and more. In fact, the young woman who's helping us manage the student film competition is in that category herself. She was a young dream activist, as they're called. But you don't have to be an immigrant. It's just simply telling an immigrant's story.
Like knowing an immigrant, maybe.
Knowing an immigrant, which we all do. I mean, 11 million undocumented immigrants and millions more other immigrants. So yes, we all have an immigrant story, or our families do.
I'm so happy that we're moving away from the stigma of illegality and really dealing with the idea that, hey, they're here. They're going to be part of your society. You're not going to put them on a bus or a train and send them home. They're amalgamating. They're already amalgamated in the society. They're working people, hardworking people. They're going to contribute. Stop me if I'm pontificating, but they're going to start contributing to society. Let's deal with them. And I guess this is all part of it, right?
Absolutely, and they do contribute. I mean, the work they do, it's some of the hardest work there is. It might be picking crops in the fields, cleaning hotel rooms, you know, you name it. It's tough work. They do it. And then some of the young folks that you talked about, they're our best and brightest. And our country is better off utilizing their talents.
And they're everywhere, and they're angry. They're really angry because they find themselves almost in a no man's land. They're American, but yet they're not. They can't get loans to go to school, but yet they deserve them. So this is sort of a vetting of emotion. And do you think that it might have any impact at all on lawmakers and policymakers who really need to sit down and deal with immigration reform and how we deal with this?
That's a very good question, because we've thought about if the debate in Congress continues, that we should bring some of the best films and some of these kids to D.C. And let the Congress people see them.
How many people do you think, or young kids do you think, are going to participate?
You know what?
Do you have an idea?
The more the better, and I hope more than we can handle. I would at least hope we get hundreds of submissions. You know, some folks at LAUSD who we're working with on this too are really going to encourage just 100 kids to submit films from LAUSD alone. And it's a nationwide competition, so I hope that gets replicated all over.
And you don't really have to be skilled in the mechanics of it either, do you? I mean, you can use
Not
a camera.
If you have a cell phone, take out the cell phone and tell your story that way. If your school has more sophisticated equipment, use that. We don't care. The important thing is telling the story, not what kind of equipment you use.
Well, I should have talked about this right at the beginning because it sets the basis of it all, but children, the next generation. I mean, whatever we decide today, they're going to inherit. So it makes sense to hear from them, right, before it's really too late, that we set policy that they have to swallow. They should have a voice in what's going on, shouldn't they?
That they should. And, you know, the kids that you talked about who were brought here when they were young, in some cases they didn't even know they had come from another country, they really are our best and brightest kids, and let's give them a chance.
Well, it goes without saying that if you invest in future generations, you're investing in your economy, and you're investing in good business. But I want to hear you say it. What's the value of what you're doing in terms of making LA a better business community?
Well, look, I think, just on the topic of immigration, the country can't have prosperity as long as you have 11 million folks who are at the bottom of the economic ladder.
Yeah.
And we figure out a way to bring them prosperity. It's better for our communities, our tax base expands, our schools have more money, our country is stronger.
As Gil Cedillo may say, once you achieve prosperity, you have to share it.
This country's about opportunity. You know, when my family, grandparents came from Italy, they too worked some of the worst jobs in mines and factories and steel mills, and they had to create some of their own opportunity, but once they did, they became part of this great middle class. Others deserve that opportunity too.
And I wish that we could get past some of this negative or cynicism that we still hear about immigration. And we really have to talk about immigration at all levels, not undocumented, but other regular immigration. Because one of the interesting things I found out some years ago, back in the 90s, was that of all the people that come into America, 25% are undocumented, 75% are legal, and they're the ones that were taking a lot of the jobs. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the undocumented who were being scapegoated. But we've got to sort of get around this idea that this is a country of immigrants. It always has been. And the immigrants of 100 or 200 years ago were, in many cases, in the same boat as the ones we're dealing with today, are they not?
That they are. It's very similar. But I think we're evolving. I know the forces we've joined with to pass immigration reform. We're working with law enforcement.
Yeah.
We're working with the business community. We're working with evangelicals. It's an unusual combination, all of us working together. And I think maybe it's the right moment in history and we'll get this thing done. And I hope our film competition plays some small role in that too.
What do you win as far as the competition is concerned?
You know, you win in every age category. Top prize is $1,000. Second prize is $500. And if you're a kid going to school, that might get you a backpack and some jeans and shoes, or help pay part of your tuition or your books if you're a community college.
Hey, I got a better idea.
What's
Top prize, U.S. citizenship.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Good to
very
talk
much.
to you, Glenn. Come back and see us and let us know how things went in the competition.
Thank you.
And you're watching LA Business Today.